Hello YouTube. So for today, I just want to kind of show you guys the process of looking for product. What I like to do, there's so many different ways to be able to find product. I'm sure like Facebook Marketplace, different places that you can go like locally in person, flea markets, garage sales, Pokemon card shows. I feel like shows are probably a great place to source supply. Especially if you're a vendor and you have people coming up to your booth, asking you to buy their collections. You can look at the cards in person a lot easier. But if you're going to do it online, you have to be meticulous and look through cards in detail and make sure that you're finding cards that are not repurchased and then relisted. You want to find cards that are pack fresh. Somebody pulled them and you can tell, usually in a listing detailed section. So I found an account and they have really clean looking cards. And so down here, first you want to make sure you see near mint or better condition. And then down here in the item description from the seller, I've seen a lot of like AI generated stuff, which is maybe an indication that it's somebody like really new. But with somebody new, you either get, a job half done. So the packaging is not that great. Maybe the card gets damaged in the package. Maybe the photos aren't that great, so you can't really tell the quality of the card on the photo. So there's just a lot of things that I don't like to see from just a randomly generated detailed description from the seller. But this seller says the card is near mint to mint, pulled from a pack and straight to a sleeve. Those are the best cards to buy. Keeps the quality of the card the highest. And I like this too. New Pokemon listings every week. Your one-stop shop for raw singles. Like if you're, buying raw cards, send them off for grading and trying to flip them into 10s. This is a $40 card. And I had mentioned yesterday in my video that I'm starting to look more specifically at higher end cards because the ROI on it, the return on your investment is just exceptional. So if we take a look, the lowest PSA 10 buy now for this card is 370. So if I think I found a clean copy of this card, and I can buy it for $40, and the PSA 10 is 370. I want to buy as many of these as I can, right? But finding mint copies of cards like this is extremely, extremely challenging. So I'm going to show you actually, this seller has a good amount of cards listed for this week. So they probably, are an individual that opens packs, pretty consistently and just lists the hits that they get out of the packs, which is a fun way to, interact with the cards. But if you're doing this work, you want to find individuals like this so that you can source from them, send them off for grading, and then ideally turn these into PSA 10 prices. That's the goal, right? So the Tyranitar, like you can see the process. We're looking specifically usually on the backs of cards. And forgive the screen is a bit dirty. So a lot of the markings on the screen, like these markings are the screen, not the card. But you can tell on the card, like that little white, up here, top right, a little white, and bottom right, a good amount of whitening. Bottom left, perfect. So centering is fantastic. Centering on the front is fantastic. I don't see any noticeable print lines on this card. So this is nearly a perfect card outside of the whitening that I see on the back. So it might be worth taking the gamble. You're going to get, in many cases, you're going to get PSA 9s. And so you want to make sure for cards that you're doing this for. I'll show you a PSA 9 copy of this card. Lowest buy now is about $50, 44 plus 4, so $48. If I'm buying for $40 and I'm grading for $18, call it, $58. And then remember, when I sell this for $48, I'm really keeping $38 because of eBay fees and shipping costs. So you lose $20 on that card. So you basically lose the cost of grading. And so the name of the game is to do as many near mint, what you think will turn into PSA 10 copies, because the PSA 10 is a $60 investment into a $370 sale, and you will end up profiting a little over $200, maybe like closer to $250 off of a card like this, after all the fees and shipping and everything. So this is how we source cards. This is what I do. It's very tedious. It's hard to find sellers that have high quality cards like this. They have a Dragonair listed, and so you can see too, it's pretty clear to see. This is the back of the Tyrannosaur. You can see the whitening bottom right, whitening top right, a little bit of whitening top left. This is the Dragonair that they have. Now on this card, left to right centering is a little bit off, right? There's no markings, that's just on the screen over here. But the centering is definitely off on this card. However, top left, pretty much flawless. Top right, pretty much flawless. Bottom right, a little bit, very, very little. Bottom left, a little bit, very little. So a little bit better on the whitening on this card. The Squirtle, again, your centering is a little bit off on this, very slightly, but the back is incredible. Sorry that that's in the way up here, but let's see, can I zoom in on it? Yeah. So top left, flawless, little bit of whitening on the edge here. Bottom right, flawless, basically. Or bottom left, bottom right, a little bit of a whitening speck. And top right, basically flawless. And I've graded enough cards to know that whoever grades your stuff on that day is going to be a little bit different, from grader to grader, from that day to another day. So I've gotten a handful of PSA 10 cards that come back to me that have a little bit of an issue. They have a small piece of whitening, they have a little bit of an off-centering issue. You just don't know entirely, and that's why part of this game is knowing you're going to get 9s, you're going to get 8s. It's just part of it. You don't lose that much on an 8 or a 9. You lose $20. You lose the grading fee. You basically get the value of the card back, as long as you're not buying into very overextended prices. You want to be looking at the best stuff of either that era or vintage. If you find really good lots that you can buy and find value out of. Vintage cards, PSA 6s and above often do well. But finding these modern PSA 10s, high quality, somebody, freshly opening the pack and sleeving it and listing it is a really nice way to source cards. It's tedious. It takes a lot of work to go through, all these eBay listings and be meticulous about it. I've been looking at this Tyranitar. I've been looking at this Marrow from Paldea Evolved, the Raichu from Paldea Evolved. A lot of good stuff. But yeah, it's extremely hard. You want high quality photos. Like you could see a card like this, like way too off-centered. There's no chance for that to get a 10, so it's just like, on to the next one. Here, still, again, pretty off-centered. In the description, lightly played. Like, on to the next one, right? Don't even have to look at the backs yet. We look at something like this. That looks not that bad. Still a little bit off-centered, but not bad. On the back, extremely off-centered. So on to the next one. So it's a process, It takes a lot of time to find something that's truly, PSA 10, gradable. This one, we have a little bit of, white ding, right here, which could be nothing, could just be lint on an image. You see clearly, like, that's a bit more intense whitening on the bottom right, so that's like probably a very low chance that this could get a 10. But you know, this is not a bad copy. It's better than a lot of the other ones. And then what I like to see is, like, from a seller like this, what did they put in their description? Like, there's no detailed description saying I got this from a pack. So I don't like this as much. You can click onto seller's other items, take a look and see what they have. I like to see, you know, a good amount of Pokemon related items so that this is not their only Pokemon related item. It shows that, you know, hopefully they know how to ship cards, they know how to handle cards, so most likely, you know, we'll have higher quality experience from somebody like this. And then sometimes maybe the other card is not the perfect card, but maybe you find something else. Like, to me, this Bulbasaur looks really clean. Maybe this becomes, you know, worth the investment. And so that's kind of how I do it, you know, find good cards. From finding good cards, find good sellers, and then go through their listings and see, you know, which ones make sense to you. Okay, I'm gonna sign off here. If you're still here, please like, subscribe. Again, I'm gonna get out at least a video a day, giving you some, you know, insight into what it takes to buy ungraded Pokemon cards, send them off for grading, and sell the graded copies. All right, peace.